I love variations in music, in art, in cinema. So this film, its whole structure.
At 72, Jim Jarmusch sits back, lights a cigarette, turns off the main road, and drifts into the world of cinema he loves.
Gustav Mahler, Anton Webern, Pythagoras, James Brown, Andy Warhol, Patti Smith, Nico.
He has spent decades making films that reflect silence, sound, loneliness.
I love variations in music, in art, in cinema. So this film, its whole structure.
Rhythm, shade, and light. And just as much, he has spent time watching, listening, and learning from other filmmakers. Here, finally, is a portrait of what movies matter to him most. 7 favorites, 7 films that echo his soul, his influences.
Kiarostami, all of these people have their own styles.
The blank spaces in the frame, the things unsaid. L'Atalante, 1934, Jean Vigo. Jean Vigo's L'Atalante is a river, a boat, a drifting marriage. It's water that holds lovers together and pulls them apart. Vigo captures longing and the unexpected cruelty of everyday life. Rum, jealousy, love, quiet despair. For Jarmusch, this is cinema as poetry, as rhythm, as tension between what is spoken and what is only looked at. The light in the cabins, the river at dawn, the way Vigo lets simple acts, the splash of water, a moment in a doorway, carry meaning. Jarmusch sees in L'Atalante something raw.
So I did that quite a lot, but that was really the most I knew about cinema.
The outside world intruding on intimacy, the way motion changes people, the way love endures despite drift. He admires Vigo's courage to be lyrical and harsh at once. To trust that the viewer can feel loneliness without being told, can sense joy even in small gestures.
But all these things kind of merge, you know, music and any form of expression.
Tokyo Story, 1953, Yasujiro Ozu. In Tokyo Story, time moves with slippered footsteps, soft conversations, meals and absences. The generational divide, the quiet passing of years, the way people drift apart, not through grand gestures, but by failing to connect. Ozu frames the world with low angles, with tatami walls, with empty rooms. The beauty is austere. For Jarmusch, Tokyo Story is the film that shows how the silence in the middle of speech screams. The spaces between father and daughter, the distance that is not traveled, the understanding that comes too late. It's a film about what we lose without even noticing. It teaches humility. They Live by Night, 1948, Nicholas Ray. A young man on the run, the ephemerality of love, the desperation of what could be, but isn't. They Live by Night is criminal, romantic, tragic. Ray paints in dusk and drifters, in trains and motels, in cars speeding under discomfort. The characters clutch each other against circumstance. Jarmusch admires their restlessness. In They Live by Night, he hears echoes of his drifters and outcasts. He hears fear of belonging and longing for escape. It's not romantic glamour. It's gritty, it's fragile, and yet beauty burns through it. Bob Le Flambeur, 1955, Jean-Pierre Melville. Cool puffs of cigarette smoke, late nights, dice, cards, betrayal, friendship. Bob Le Flambeur is a heist film dressed in shadows and regret. Melville lets his characters carry guilt. He lets them wander in alleys and clubs and empty streets. He gives them dignity, even when they fail. Jarmusch sees in Melville a style, less about plot than about tone, about mood, about choosing companions in crime who are more melancholic than heroic. Bob Le Flambeur is where criminal poetry lives.
But I think you have to hold on to your intuition at all times. And I think the two most important things I could tell younger filmmakers or less experienced ones is that
Where the failing plans, the moral ambiguity, the rueful smiles all matter. Sunrise, 1927, F.W. Murnau. A silent film, almost mythic. A city man, a city woman, temptation, redemption, the journey back. Murnau's Sunrise is light in shadow, reflection in water, architecture and nature in contrast.
cinema and poetry and fiction, painting, design, they're all connected and they're all incorporated in film. So film has so many elements within it.
It moves like music without instruments. Jarmusch sees in Sunrise the early cinema's power to communicate emotion without words. He values its visual purity, how every shot matters, how the world itself becomes the character. The film's beauty, both fragile and immense, speaks of what's lost and what might be saved. Mouchette, 1967, Robert Bresson. A small girl in a small place, suffering beyond her age, powerless, observing cruelty. Mouchette is Bresson's economy. Minimal gestures, minimal words, maximal suffering. The way Bresson frames suffering not for spectacle, but for clarity. Jarmusch appreciates Mouchette because it refuses melodrama. It refuses easy answers. It lets silence press, lets the body respond before the heart.
Non-Disney type of film I'd ever seen.
More savage than the Tommy Gun massacre of the Roaring Twenties.
The girl's sorrow is plain, not ornamental. Watching her, seeing how life's unfairness imprints itself quietly, leaving marks nobody speaks. These 7 films, L'Atalante, Tokyo Story, They Live by Night, Bob Le Flambeur, Sunrise, Mouchette, 7 Samurai. They are roots and rivers, wells of influence. They pulse in Jim Jarmusch's work, ghosts in his frames, echoes in his silences, whispers in his music. At 72, he is both made by what he has done and by what he has watched. These films show us what mattered then. They show us what still holds.